regarding my name. Right. So today I'm going to be talking about finances. Let me share my screen very quickly. I'd like to give a quick disclaimer. Can you all see my screen? Okay.
Yes.
So, quick disclaimer. I'm not a financial expert, and this is not my forte. If you ask me to come and speak about project management, I can talk to you from today till tomorrow, right? So, what I'm going to be sharing rather is things that I do, right? And I've tried as much as possible to try and align it to the audience that I'm hoping I'm going to be speaking with today. But to help me, one thing you can do for me is if you are able to turn on your camera, I like to see a face when I speak. I do trainings literally every week. And one of the things that my students know me for is when they come in my class, they turn on their camera because I need to speak to you. For one, I need to connect with you. For two, I need to be sure you are not completely distracted doing something else in the background. It's bound to happen when we come online to learn like that. So if you are comfortable turning your camera, I would beseech you to turn your camera. I'm going to also try and engage us pretty quickly. So I'd like to know one or two persons, if you signify by raising your hand, what would you love to learn today? So if today were a success after this training, what would it be like for you? What are you looking for answer to? What are you looking to learn? Very quickly in 30 seconds. Anyone? I need to know that I have an active audience, so please talk to me. Unmute your mic and talk to me. What are you looking to learn today? Okay, Amos, please shoot.
All right. Good evening, everybody. So, when I first saw the flyer to the program, I saw financial literacy,
Mhm.
and one thing I'll say that I want to gain today is, something that will give me a head start into financial literacy because it's not a subject or something that we're motivated to study in
Yep,
society. So I'm looking for something that's just going to give me a head start,
yep.
spark up my interest to look into finances and learn more about finances.
Okay, beautiful. Right. Thank you. Can we okay, I'm seeing a chart to know how to grow my financial mindset and make it continually grow. Okay. Can we have Abdurrahman please unmute your mic and talk to us?
Okay, good evening. Thank you so much. For me, what I was looking maybe to gain from this session, I wanted maybe to have some tips, practical tips that will help me to manage my earning very well
Okay.
because this
Beautiful.
topic is very important. So actually, that's what I can
Beautiful.
say.
Thank you, Abdurrahman. Amos? Sorry. Is there any other person? Amos has gone. Abdurrahman has okay, yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with you. Okay. Bright, you want to say something? Go on.
Okay, from my side, what I'm looking forward to achieving in this program, good evening, thank you for this session, is to see how I can manage my income, everywhere that income is coming in, and how to see how I can multiply or diversify
Okay.
whatever comes in there.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Right, so I'm going to move into the slide now. So this is a breakdown of uh, what we're going to look at. We're going to have a quick icebreaker shortly. We're going to look at the foundation of financial wisdom. We're going to look at budgeting, and I'm going to be dwelling a lot on budgeting. We're going to look at earning. We're going to look at saving and introduction to investment, just tips and handling money, peer pressure, temptation, and then we conclude. So I'm going to ask another question pretty quickly. What's the weirdest thing that you've spent money on recently? Anyone? Think about it. What's the weirdest thing you've spent money on? Something you can share with us. There has to be something. Bright, you still have your hand up. Do you want to tell us the weirdest thing you've spent money on recently? Abdurrahman?
Yeah, I can say maybe recently I've just purchased some appliances, electrical appliances. I think
Okay.
it is, yeah.
Why is it weird? Why
Wait.
did you think that you make the wrong decision buying them?
No, I can't say I make the wrong decision.
Did you go broke after buying them?
Of course.
Okay. So because you went broke after buying them, it feels
Yeah,
weird that it put you in the you know
yeah,
not too good position.
yes.
Okay. Yeah. Is there any, thank you for sharing. Is there anybody else that wants to share? Somebody put in the chat that they bought an handout that they will not need until next semester. Okay, thank you for sharing. How many people know these people on my screen? Do you know them? Who is on the left of the screen? If you know them, you can just unmute your mic and say their name.
That's Gigi and Sabinus.
Thank you, Gege and Sabinus. Okay. If you know Gege and Sabinus, give me a thumbs up. Thank you. Right. So you want to invest and you need somebody to advise you on investment. Which of these guys are you going to listen to their advice to manage your money? Which one of them? You all are laughing. Sabinus, somebody said Sabinus because he's going to give you the investor vibes. Okay. Right. I'm glad you know them. So let's look at, the foundation of financial wisdom. And I'm going to run through this quickly and pick out, the things that are important for us to know. Right. So, for you to build a good foundation, for your finances, you need to understand the long-term game. You need to have a mindset of the long term, right? Because every money that you manage today, it influences your financial future and your stability. So you need to think beyond the immediate needs and build a lasting wealth, right? So it's you are if you think about it, that today, for example, let's say you are 30 years old and you are at a certain earning capacity. Let's say you have an earning every month, and if you are talking about, oh, I want to build wealth in the future, or I want to build wealth. Wealth building is not a day job. It means that if you remain at this same earning capacity and you don't have what you are not where you want to be, right? And you remain in this same earning capacity, in the next 30 years, you'll probably not still be happy with yourself, if that makes sense. So it's a long-term mindset if you want to build a financial wisdom. So let's look at, for example, you are 30 years old today, like I gave an example, and you want to retire in the next 60 years. When you retire, what's going to happen when you are no longer earning, right? What is going to happen between now and the next 60 years? 30 years. What are you going to earn for you to be able to retire on in that 30 years, if that makes sense to us? That's essentially what we call building the foundation of your finances. So you need to know, you need to have step-by-step understanding of what it means for you to be financially savvy, for you to understand what your goal is, where you're going, what success means to you financially, and the step-by-step action that you need to take to get there. So another thing that you need to really understand in building a good financial foundation is budgeting. So you need to create a plan that tracks your income and tracks your expenses as well, and which also helps you to prioritize your spending and ensures that you live within your means. One of the most powerful things in financial literacy is budgeting. As a matter of fact, it is the most powerful thing, right? Budgeting. I tell you a quick story about me. While a couple of years ago, I just live, the way when you watch Sabino's video, it goes like this, as if, oh, he's calculating, he's thinking of something. That's how most of us live, right? That's how I used to live as well before. You know, what I literally do is I just think about, oh, money is going to come from somewhere. I mean, oh, I've done some businesses that money is going to come out of. I'm just going to put this one here, put that one here in my head without really writing it down to be very realistic. So I just spend. When I'm in need, I find means to get the money. I get the money, I sort the need, I move on again, right? Until when I got married, right? And a lot of things changes in a man's life when they got married. One of the things that changed for me was budgeting. And one day my wife looked at us and said that, see, we can't continue to just spend money without understanding how much is coming and how much is going out. We need to have a balance. And then we decided to have a spreadsheet to track what is coming in and where this thing is going. And we realized how much I, for one, because she used to budget before she met me, I, for one, realized how unintelligent my spending habit has been, because it just happens that I wonder where the money goes, right? Because I don't give the money, I mean, I don't give it a role to play. I don't give it what to do. You know, I have a code down the slide, and I'm going to talk about that when I get there. So I'm going to move quickly, talk about if this is literally what we are talking about today. You know, this slide is, you know, somehow like a summary of everything, right? Saving and control spending. If you budget, you'll be able to you know, set aside a portion of your income regularly to avoid impulsive purchase, to be able to justify your purchases, to control your spending and preserve resources, you know, for your future goals. Then the fourth one like that is earning wisely, focusing on developing your skills and opportunity that increases your income potential and help you to influence your financial growth, right? There's a Bible passage there that I put there that says you need to count the cost before you build. Which one of us want to build a house and will not count the cost, right? You know, this is literally telling you that you need to budget. You need to understand, first of all, the architectural plan, which is like, where am I going? What do I want to achieve? Can I afford it? What do I need to be able to achieve this? How do I plan it in terms of time, in terms of scope, in terms of cost? There's something in project management. The three pillars is scope, time, and cost. So you need to understand what financial literacy means to you, what, you know, financial independence means to you. For example, what wealth means to you. Some people, it just means to them that, oh, they have a decent family and they can afford to feed their, you know, their decent family, and that's what wealth means to them. While some people want it bigger than that. You need to understand the scope. You know, you need to also part of understanding the scope is understanding that, okay, I want to be independent financially in the next 5 years, 10 years, something realistic. You need to you know, make reference to all those three things: scope, cost, and time. Okay. I'm going to move on pretty quickly, and let's look at just like an example of, you know, a budgeting principle, right? There are two quotes on the left, if you can see that. Give every naira that comes into your hands, or every dollar, a job before you spend it. What you do when you don't budget is that you spend the money, then you calculate, you wonder where the money has gone because you did not give it a job, right? Budgeting means that you assign a task to every penny that comes into your hand before you spend it, so that you are sure that this penny that I've assigned this task to, I've gone to do the task that I've assigned to it. Okay. If you don't tell your money where to go, you are just going to wonder where it has gone. A lot of us don't tell our money where to go. We just start wondering, oh, I had 100K at the beginning of the week and I have nothing right now. You know, you just wonder where it goes. So this is just this is not a strict rule of managing money. Again, I am not a financial expert or a financial advisor. I am just teaching something practical that I have applied, right, over time. Okay, so very important. Giving 10%, saving 20%, controlled spending 70%. Some of you might think, oh, I don't have enough to give. Giving is a culture, is a lifestyle, right? I've always, I mean, let me say it this way. If you think that when you're rich, you give, and you don't give now when you are not rich, right? You are just deceiving yourself, right? Because you would not have strengthened that culture of yourself. So giving is a very important part of financial wisdom, of financial literacy. You need to have, as part of your budget, a budget to give, no matter how small, right? Saving, very important. One of the important things that we need to do as young people is to have emergency funds, right? I'm going to say this as a joke. I have an account that I named that account Raining Day, right? I name it Raining Day, and every now and then I go into that account and I take money out of it, and I'll just tell myself, rain has fallen today, I beg. And that's literally sometimes what emergency fund means, because if I did not save that money as at then, I wouldn't have it to be able to use it on the day that rain fell, even though rain fell too early than I expected, right? One of the things that we do here in the UK is have like very many different means of saving for emergencies. For example, you can do an insurance where you pay insurance monthly, and it gives you like a certain kind of cover. For example, if you're doing life insurance, you are sure that if anything happens to you today, it could even be like there's so many different forms of insurance. There's life insurance, there is employment insurance. For example, I'm insured that if I lose my job today, for the next 1 year, I'm going to be getting the same amount of my salary from the insurer every month until I'm able to stabilize and get another job. That's financial intelligence. Find out what it is, within your own area, within your the climate where you live in Nigeria, that helps you to make a good saving decision. For emergency, not the other savings that we're talking about now. Emergency saving, very important. You need to be covered for emergency, for anything that can happen. You need to think about what is most important to you. For example, it could be life emergency, like, oh, you want to have a life insurance. It could be job emergency. You want to have a job assurance, something like that. You need to have an emergency saving as a young adult. Okay, then the remaining percentage, 70%, you need to manage it carefully on essential expenses and lifestyle needs to avoid overspending and maintaining financial stability. Now this 70%, right, is then what is left and most important. It is where you want to apply every other management, budgeting, prudence, and all of those big English skill into when you talk about knowing, making the right decision about how you spend your money, basically. Okay, so this continues from there. Let's look at this. So essential tools that you can use to manage your finances. You can use budgeting apps like Kuda. How many people know Kuda, Piggyvest? There's a lot of fintech apps like that are cropping up in Nigeria today. Look at the one that gives you the best policy and go for it, right? Okay, I'm gonna come to there, right? So you can also, just like myself, use a Google Docs, Google Sheets, Excel to manage your family finance. I can do like a quick template to okay, I'm just trying to I'm just getting distracted by what Bella wrote there, so no problem. I was trying to read up if he was talking to me. Anyway, yeah, I can share a quick template that I use for my family. It might not be very practical in the Nigerian setting, but it's something that is practical for me because I live in the United Kingdom. We know everything that are, so we have like 3 different categories. We have the bills. These are things that, I mean, you have to pay for light, you have to pay for water, you have to pay, they are basic things, right? Then we have the other things like grocery shopping that are also basic, that are all basics and variable. So we have the basics and constants. So for example, I know how much I get debited for power every month. I know how much I get debited for my vehicle insurance every month, right? Those are basics and they are fixed. Then we have the basics and they are not fixed, they are variable, like how much food we eat every other month differs. There are some months we are buying wholesales, there are some months we are, not buying wholesales, things like that. And then there's the third parts that are not fixed and they are not variable. So that's what now gives us allowances for other things that we want to spend money on, savings, etc., investment, and etc., right? So we have that template that we follow. And literally, say for example, you budget and you realize that I don't have enough money, and I've not been having enough money to cover all my needs for the past 2 months. What does that tell you? What's that indicating to you? It means that you need to up your earnings. It's either you up your earnings or you reduce what you're spending money on. If not, you just realize that you end up in an unfair balance. You won't have the balance, right? So prioritize your needs, focus on essential expenses such as food, transport, data before allocating money to non-essential, to maintain financial stability. Don't starve for sneakers, right? Track and plan your expenses diligently for 30 days. So one of the challenge that I'm going to give to you today is that look at how you spend money. Understand your own financial habit, your spending habit. You at the end of 30 days, you will tell yourself whether you have been an intelligent spender or you have been an unintelligent spender, right? I'm sure that some of those apps like Piggyvest, Kuda, and the likes, they now have the function where you can track your spending behavior, right? So one of those apps, somebody just said Sterling Bank as that, right? So they're able to give you statistics at the end of the month to say that you spend so amount on grocery, and that is the percentage of the money that came in. You spend so amount on XYZ. So you need to do that disciplining of spending your next 1 month to track and plan your expenses. You can see where your money goes to. Okay, so earning is very, very important. If you are not earning, there is no point whatsoever of budgeting and planning. And I'm going to say this, there's something that have become very common. I'm not looking at the time, Biola. Please, you should let me know if I don't want to go past my time. Right, there's something that have become very common lately, where people in Nigeria, because of the hard time that Nigeria is going through, people in Nigeria, as part of their plan to earn, they tax people. Taxing people is not a means of income, right? When you are planning to do a project, or you want to do something, or you need money for something, and you are scrolling down your contacts thinking of who is the last person I taxed. Let me give this person under 3 months before I go and tax him. Let me see this person. I've not taxed this person in 6 months. Let me go and tax them. That, my friend, is not any bit of sense financially. So I'm going to tell you a quick story of balancing that. Rather than tax people and become a financial burden to people, you should rather find a way to add value to people. When you add value to me, I will definitely want to reward you by default, right? In a way, I would want to reward you. Okay. Biola was mentioning earlier that I went to business school very early in uni. So while I was in uni, he doesn't know this. So I went to a certain business school when I was in 200 level. I was a broke student, right? My 100 level, 200 level, even though, I was, doing one or two bits to earn, but I knew that I could earn more. I knew that I need that knowledge. I need to know how to actually build a proper business. So a friend told me about a local business school in Akure, before I went to the proper business school that was international. Yeah. So I attended this business school, and I loved the curator of the business school. I wanted to get close to him, so I volunteered immediately. I finished my own training. Right, I volunteered. I went into him to say, "Is there any way I could help? I'm going to help you preach the news, tell people to come to the school, become your PA." So I literally just became his executive assistant. So I, you know, support him in every program he does and all that. So I was adding value, right? And there was this opportunity. One of the things that we did in the cohorts that followed my training was that we were going to travel to the to 4 or 5 countries in West Africa, and it was going to be like a trade trip. We're going to go and buy things there, petrol, understand the enterprises around those countries, have conferences and all that. Was going to be a road trip, right? So I didn't have money for it. Like I said, I was a broke student. I didn't have money for it. I really desired to go, right? How did I end up on that trip? Was that I became very valuable to that man. I was in charge of his scheduling, business meeting. I was designing graphics for him, was writing for him. I was doing a lot of things for him, right? To the point that I registered my interest even for the event, but days to the event, I couldn't come up with the money. I didn't have the money to go. And then he just said, "Crystal, how am I going to survive on this trip without you? Everything that we need and we have been planning for this trip, you are in charge of it. You know everything. You have, everything that he is going to need. At the end of the day, he just said, see, you are almost indispensable. I'm going to have to pay for you." And that was how I ended up going on that trip for free. Was I a financial burden to him? No. Did he reward me for the value that I exchanged, that I gave to him, that I brought to the table? Absolutely yes. Right. And I learned a lot. I started getting better, and over time I was able to pay for my own things and all that, from gleaning from his table. Okay, I just put like a few things here. If he aligns with you, you can pick from me. Freelancing on Upwork or Fiverr, so you have a skill. There's something that you can do. Number one thing that you need to do with that skill that that you have, for example, you know how to write. If you realize that you know how to write, it is probably still very raw, right? You probably don't know how to write in that international standard, something that will be acceptable to people in the US, people in Australia, people in the UK, and all that. So one of the things you need to know, you need to do when you figure out that, okay, I know how to do this thing, is you need to own the skill. I have 12 more minutes. I'm gonna have to rush through now. You need to on the skill, right? One of the ways you can earn your skill is volunteering. Like I said earlier, volunteering, helped me to be able to exchange value. I mean, learn a lot, exchange value with somebody that ended up, being a blessing to me, right? So, earn your skill by learning more, volunteering with it, and then using it to earn. There's Upwork, there's Fiverr. You would be amazed at how much people need that skill that you've got. I give you an example. One of the things that I don't like doing is creating my own slides. I don't like doing it. I can give you a 5-page document. I just want my executive assistant or whoever to turn it into a slide for me that is nice. I don't like doing my slides. You will be amazed at things that people don't like to do that is very comfortable for you to do. So I would sometimes I want to make a slide. I would just go on Fiverr and say, I want to make this slide. This is my script. Make it for me, and I'm going to pay. So I would rather pay even somebody who I know is readily available can make that slide for me, lives back in Nigeria, than go on Fiverr to pay a random person, because that money is of more value to you than to somebody who lives in the US or lives in the UK. Okay. Social media, I cannot overemphasize this. You know how much your peers, get out of social media. You can also offer your skill in that area as well. Sell online. Selling online is something that is still very much untapped in this current day Nigeria, right? Online marketing is amazing. I have sold something that I bought out of a local supermarket, right, for 200 naira in Nigeria, and I've marketed it online for 30,000 naira, and I sold lots of it, right? Because the internet generation is some people are surprised. The internet generation is very lazy. You just find something online, and I tell you what, I know people out of my family who have bought things online, and they will tell me that, oh, I bought this thing for 50k and it's gonna do this and that, and I'll be like, oh my god, this thing is in so place for so amount. The internet generation is really lazy. We are not going to research so much. We're just going to, if you see a good advert, you just click on it and then you make that purchase, and you think that, oh, that thing is going to solve your problem. You can tap into that. It is literally you putting out your market. It is not illegal, right? You can tap into that. You make adverts. You can literally sell random stuff, online, provided they are legal things that can be marketed, right? One of the things that are also untapped is, if you know how to do something, right, you can sell that skill. You can sell the training. So you will say that, oh, there's a lot of, let's say, for example, I'm a graphic designer and I want to train people, and I just thought about, oh, I can train people on graphic designing, right? I can begin to think that, oh, there's a lot of places people can learn graphic designing. There is Udemy, there's EDX, there's this, there's that. But do you know the difference? The difference is that people appreciate and prefer people that can hold their hands to learn, to learn, rather than just somebody online, right? One of the things that I do in the UK is that on the side, beside my job, I train people how to do my job, right? And I realized that I never need to advertise anymore, because people just continuously refer people to me to say, oh, this is where I learned this thing. You can learn from him. The guy is really nice. He talks to us. So because I take the pain of taking my own class, just like I'm taking you like this. People can ask their question. I can share real insight and all of that. You'll be amazed at how much that can also bring to your table. There's a Bible scripture there that says, if you see a man that's diligent in his deeds, in his works, he would serve before king. So I'm just going to rush quickly on this, because I think I should have like 8 minutes or 7 minutes left now. Like I said earlier, emergency fund savings, very, very important. Start as little as possible. Emergency fund means that if there's no emergency, there's no touching it. If it is not an emergency, there's no touching it. That's different from my raining day savings that I used to touch every day that rain falls. So don't forget, emergency funds means that I'm saving it away for emergency, if emergency happens. Okay. You need to also have a saving goal for a big project. There has to be something that you're saving towards. So have a saving goal. Use any of those saving apps as well. So basic investment options, some of the ways you can, invest in Nigeria: there's fixed deposits, there's mutual funds, there's government bonds. These are moderate risk. These are you cannot lose your capital on a mutual fund. You can't lose your capital on a government bond, right? They are moderate risk. There are other ones. I'm not a financial advisor, like I said. There are other ones that you can also consider. The higher the risk, the more the return on investment, right? But if you are starting out, you want to consider probably something that has very, very low risk or moderate risk. Okay. Avoid Ponzi schemes. Avoid any over risky schemes. How many people did CBEX? Don't lie. I know some of you did CBEX. I tell you what, yeah, and this is me sharing from my heart. You can never get rich from Ponzi. Never. Do you know why? Yeah, you might be lucky, you put some money in and you make some money. Let's say you double your money and you make millions, right? Do you think that you are going to stop when you make millions? There's that inner you that, yeah, you somebody said I did and they were part of the lucky ones. That is beautiful, but you are not going to get rich out of that, because whatever is going to keep you rich has to have a level of consistency. If you are going to get rich out of CBEX, it should be something that would be available for the next 10 years. You are doing the same thing you are doing and you are getting the same amount you are getting. It has to be consistent, right? Whatever makes you if you were not going to be lucky, you that you said you were one of the lucky ones, it means that you were going to put more money into it to make more money. By the time you put more money into it, you get caught and you get wounded. You're not going to get your money out, and you see these other people that were not lucky. Do you know what? They are waiting for the next cycle of investment scam to put their money, because you feel like a beaten lion who wants to take a revenge. So when they say there's another one that has come out now that is called DBEX, quickly do it now. Oh. Somebody that lost money in CBEX will say, what's there? Should I lost money in CBEX? Let me put this money so that I can quickly take my money out. If you are not going to get rich out of all of this scheme. Somebody said they play affiliate marketing. Everybody that has come to talk to me about affiliate marketing, they look more tattered than myself. Why are they looking tattered? If the thing is paying them, let's not go into it. These things have been available and going in circles for so long. When you want to actually listen to people's story, go and listen to people who are maybe 70 years old today, 60 years old, who have done this cycle of investment thingy in the past. They will tell you what their eyes saw, and it's not going to be different, because humans are greedy. We are naturally greedy. If it is not a regulated thing, greed is going to make us destroy it, right? It could have been something that everybody should get their little money out of and make profit. Like the majority should have made profit, but because of the greed of the people at the top, or because of greed of people, you are just going to realize that you lose out. Okay. And this is about the last slide. Avoid someone. Another one like it is the betting apps. You are also not going to get rich out of betting, no, right? I mean, there are a lot of these boys on Twitter, 20-meter boy, 150-meter boy, da. I know all of them. They would post codes for you to bet, but you still don't make the money that they are showing that they are making. It's just bait. There's a lot of things that goes behind the scene that are not for the public eye. You need to try as much as possible to cut down on that lifestyle. If today your focus is that, I think I'm going to really make it out of sporty bet or anything like that, just call yourself to order and say, I need to channel my energy into other things. If you cannot completely delete sporty bet and all of that bit, make sure that you are not putting money, make sure you are cautioned enough not to turn it into an habit. The moment it becomes an habit, it has every opportunity to make your life a ruin. Okay. Effective strategy: adopt a budget first. If you can boldly create a budget and put sporty bets as part of your budget, then maybe is okay. Do you get what I mean? So let's say you are creating your budget and you've planned how you're going to spend your money, and somewhere there you are able to put 5K on sporty bets, and it makes sense to you. It makes proper sense to you, right? Maybe then sporty bet is not bad for you. I'm not preaching that sporty bet is good, though. I'm just helping you find a balance, because I'm sure that by the time you make your budget, there's no space for sporty bets there. If you find space for sporty bets, then maybe good for you. Okay. In conclusion, if the habits that you create towards managing your money helps you to secure your financial future, And it's about how much you keep and grow, not just how much you earn. If you don't budget, you will not be able to you know have an idea of where your money is coming from and where your money is going. Okay, honoring God and yourself through wise finances helps you to strengthen your value. Also, giving again is part of being financially wise. You need to create an habit of giving. So, challenge for the week is that, like I said earlier, track every naira that you spend to increase your awareness throughout this month. Save a small amount to build your saving habits. Also, save for emergency. And lastly, share one financial lesson with a friend to spread the knowledge and to concrete the knowledge for yourself. I think that I managed to cover everything that I want to cover, and you can ask me questions. Thank you very much. Yola, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Crystal. Those are very, very practical tips, and I would like to take this challenge for myself. I had something to over the week when the person said, print out your bank account for last month, your bank statement for last month. It will wow you how much actually came in and how much how much you are actually worth, and manage it, manage your savings, your income better next time. So
You're on mute now. We can't hear you.
yeah, sorry, it's a little distraction from my
No problem.
little one. Yes. So thank you so much. Can we please use our reactions to say thank you to Crystal for this very, very practical session? Like he said, it's not about being a financial expert at this point. It's about trying to make sure that you have, a kind of intelligence around how you deal with your money and all those things. In the UK culture, you might have insurance, but in our own culture here in Nigeria, there are ways that you would have learned that you can find a kind of balance, and how you will be able to have a good financial balance. So thank you so much, Crystal, once again. We already have questions in a question in the chat box, but we would like to give two people the opportunity to ask their questions. You can raise your hands so that I would just see that sequence, and then we would like to take three questions. We already have one in the chat. We would like to have Christopher Sunday, are you raising your hand? If you are, you can unmute your mic and just go ahead with your question.
Okay, thank you very much, Crystal. We really appreciate you for this time. I think I will go straight forward to the question. I have comment and also question. Yeah, you really helped us in drafting out a way to plan yourself. Unlike the fact remain that I'm part of those that do sporty, and it has really been working for me. But in code, I also plan myself towards it. Monthly, what I deposit into it is 2,000 naira. I rather win or I lose. If I win, fine. If I lose, fine. That money is gone and it's gone. I don't add any money to it. I discipline myself in it because I believe I may not be the only victim here that endured into sporty. One or two people may be also doing it, maybe into sporty, but when you win this, when you lose, you feel the next one I'll win. I keep on investing your money. Before you know, your money is all gone.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for helping us to analyze the fact that you have to just budget it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's 1,000 naira for that month, then let it be 1,000 naira. And the second comment I want to make is towards mutual fund. I have actually been doing mutual fund, and I also did a recent analysis about mutual fund.
Mm.
Okay, if I'm having, for instance, if I'm having one M in my mutual fund, and how much is a motorbike Okada? Motorbike is around 1.2. So I realized that if you're having a motorcycle that you can purchase with 1.2, and you'll be having a return of 10,000 or 15,000 naira every week. I felt it was even more better to invest that in the motorbike instead of going for the mutual fund. If I'm having 1M in my mutual fund, I'm getting a return or an interest of 10,000 naira every month. And if I buy a motorbike, I'm having a return of 10,000 every week. That means in the month I'm having 40,000 naira instead of saving it in the mutual fund. So
Yep.
my own contribution here is, instead of going for most of these saving platform, either the federal government money bond or the mutual fund, you can also exploit other opportunities and conduct your own analysis within your own environment and see either to save this money or invest it is best for you. That is
Yeah.
the comment I wanted to make on this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you, Christopher. So I'm going to say something about that. That is where diversifying your portfolio comes in. There's no one way to invest, right? So if you putting money in mutual funds is very safe. Mutual fund is not going to be emotional. It's not going to have accident. You are not going to chase mutual fund for delivery, right? But if you put money and it gives you little amounts in terms of returns. If you put money in something that is more riskier, for example, the risk level of mutual funds is low compared to the risk level of buying a motorbike, right? If you buy a motorbike, you have to find somebody to drive it. You have to be sure you enter into a proper agreement with them. They could get into an accident. All of those risk factors are there. Now, this is where you understand how to diversify your portfolio. A percentage goes into here, a percentage goes into there. Oh, I've invested in this. I know it is very safe. Let me do another high risk investment. I know that, okay, if it works, it works. Oh, let me do a moderate risk investment. If it works, it works. So when you speak to a financial expert, they can tell you, okay, if you have 10 million to invest, diversify by doing a 50% of it with moderate risk, 20% of it with low risk, and 30% of it with high risk, right? That's where diversification of. There's so many examples of right? And if you give your motorbike example, somebody else somewhere will give another example that will give you maybe 100% of the money you invested. Yeah, if you get what I mean. So yeah, very, very good contribution. And then in terms of the betting app and betting platform, it's good that you've said that you know how to manage your habits. It is important that I re-emphasize it that we all should not make it into an habit. It is not a means of investment. You need to understand that if you are doing it to very likely lose the money, right? Because it is gambling. Gambling is gambling. So you need to be aware of the fact that you are gambling and you are not investing, right? Thank you so much for that. I'm gonna take the question that I'm seeing on the chat. This person said, what of those that you readily offer and don't get reward? What do you do? Do you still need to deal with the person or don't have anything to do with the person? Well, this is sort of like a question that is peculiar to the character of a person. Before you what is it called? Before you offer your value to somebody, one thing that you need to establish is that me and this person share a common alignment. We share a common value. For example, the example that I gave, that I offered my exchange of value to somebody that was teaching me business in business school. First of all, before I'm sitting under him, it means that our values align, right? It means that he's going to practice what he's preaching as well. So we have an alignment of value. So there's no way I'm not going to get reward out of the value exchange that I'm giving to him, right? So you are not just offering value to just anybody on the street. You are offering value to somebody who aligns with you in value. Very important. If not, you're not going to get reward, right? Because I'm teaching this principle, there's nobody who will be around me offering value to me that will not get reward. Does that make sense? You can easily, that's your litmus test to know whether you are going to get reward if you exchange value with me, right? The second question there is, what of the case of a school teacher who has like 4 private lessons and has planned the income, but then Nigerian factor like delay in pay? How do you make the budget plan? Yeah, so this is a problem that is peculiar to Nigeria. But unfortunately, principles like this don't consider, the factor of the country that you live in, which is just something that you then need to manage, by yourself, right? One of the things that you do in this case is that you can automatically just have it at the back of your mind that you are not earning enough, so you need to continually increase your earning. Again, budgeting, one of the goal of you doing a budget is not because you want to put a gun on your own neck to say you have to strictly follow the budget, right? When you start budgeting, you realize that you will wibble wobble for a bit. You can even wibble wobble for about a year, right? Start by doing like a monthly budget, and you just realize that at some point you begin to gain stability. Budgeting helps you understand your financial behavior, your spending habit, your spending behavior, and it helps you understand what is actually realistic for you. You will just maybe at some point realize that, okay, I am not earning enough. It is obvious that I am not earning enough, so I need to increase my earning. So you take a lesson learned. So budgeting helps you create intelligence around your own spending behavior and what your current spending behavior and where it tends to get to. I hope that I answered your question. What apps can one use to invest in company shares in Nigeria? I promise you there are apps like that, but I do not have the current updates on all of those apps. But what can help you? Chat GPT can tell you what it is. I'm not up to date with Nigeria investments in terms of what app to use and all of that. But I know back when I was living in Nigeria, there was Carrywise, there was Piggyvest, and I know that they do investments. They have investment portfolios that they can help you manage, something like that. But it's something that I can dig up and share with Biola to share with you guys. But of course, I know that if you Google it or Chat GPT it will get like a list of them. You could even go ahead to prompt Chat GPT to tell you what the rate of returns is, what the policy is, and all that, and you can learn. Okay, yeah, you can download Bamboo app. Yeah, I remember Bamboo, correct. Adetunji Prince, thank you. Bamboo is one of the apps you can use. You can even use it to invest outside of Nigeria as well if you are interested in any investment in the foreign currency. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Is there any more questions?
Thank you, Crystal. There's no more question in the chat, but we still have opportunity for anyone who wants to, just raise their hand and ask one or two questions. So from my side, I would like to just do a little bit of cherry picking on the challenges that you gave us for the week. And there's a part where you mentioned that we should understand our financial habits. And there is this part that I also see in the undertone of what Adetunji Prince was asking about, that you have, 4 sources of income, but they don't come at the right time. And or let's say, let me know is right at the time that it was agreed upon for it to come. So you kind of have to go the other way to maybe get some cash before everything balances. That looks like a reality that you cannot, that you cannot control. And you also gave us this factor that there is time amongst those 3 things you gave: time, cost, and scope. So how if I would just be strict on myself, I would say maybe you have to just increase your earnings. But there are sometimes that the money that you calculate at the beginning of the month is okay, but the money is not just coming at the right time. How do you balance that reality of the ground?
I'm just going to say something that's coming to my mind that I didn't have the opportunity of saying, and that might go in line. One of the things that we do as Nigerians is that we have a borrowing culture, right? Nigerians borrow a lot. So one of the things you need to do is that you need to have a principle around your borrowing. There are some things that you can never catch me borrowing for, right? There are some things I can borrow for, right? Here in the UK, the system is almost perfect. So if you are expecting £1,000 at a particular time, maybe you've gone to Ozu, you did a job, and they are meant to pay you in the next 2 weeks, right? It's not going to fail. So that 1K is going to come in. Let's now say that I have to, for example, pay my water bill, and it would impact my credit score if I don't clear my water bill before that money comes, right? I can ring a friend to say, borrow me exactly £64.24 for my water bill to clear that debt from by so day. I'm going to return it, because that money is definitely going to drop on that day, and I'm going to be able to return it on that day. What have I done now? But what would a Nigerian do? A proper Nigerian would say, you feel borrow me like £200, and they expect 1K by so time. Now, by the time you borrow that £200, it looks like a gift to you, right? It looks as if you've created sort of like you are earning 1,200. You get your water bill of £64.24, and then you blow the remaining without putting it in a budget, right? And then when the 1K come, it becomes like a whole 200 is what I'm sending back to my guy, right? It becomes a burden. You are already short of 800 when you are supposed to be short of only about £65, if that makes sense. So one of the black hole that not having a perfect system gives us is that it turns us to borrower. We just borrow here, borrow there. If, for example, I mean, I back in Nigeria, I have friends who they have a strategy for borrowing. They need, say, 20K. What they will do is they will speak to somebody to say, can I get 50K from you? They get the 50K, they use 20K from me, they keep the 30K. Maybe they said they will return it in 2 weeks, then they will return it in 1 week. They will return 30K in 1 week or 20K in 1 week, so that they can have credit, rating with that person. And then the next time they will be able to borrow more. You are literally digging a hole for yourself, to bury yourself, in borrowing. We need to there are some things that we can do. On the one hand, you need to increase your earnings, you need to increase your stream of income, you need to have shock absorber for that Nigerian factor, right? That is why when a Nigerian travels abroad, they have a thick skin automatically, because they've been through it. They've gone through people not paying them, surviving, and all of that. You just need to apply this principle here and there, guiding your borrowing. Don't borrow for XYZ. Like, there's no reason why you're borrowing to buy sneakers, for example. There's no reason why you're borrowing for some things, just to ensure that you maintain a balance. You need to try as much as possible to strike that balance against the money you are expecting, so that you are not, overspending and then finding yourself in debt by the time the money drops. I hope that helps. I know that is not the perfect answer, but I hope it helps a little bit.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, I believe that it would have answered one or two things that is in our minds. And to go back to that part where you said there's opportunity to get multiple streams of income. I think it's something that cannot be overemphasized, because if you the economic situation of the country at the moment makes you look like as if you are maybe doing enough in terms of the pay that is coming in. There's this, if you were earning, let's say, 200,000 naira 5 years ago, you would almost feel maybe a little bit, on the average, comfortable. But now, due to the way the economy is, if you're earning 300,000, you still kind of have that feeling of there is still money. But the budget and everything, you will discover that 300 cannot take care of the things that 100K would have taken care of 5 years ago. So now there's the illusion of I have money. When you get that kind of illusion that you have money, it helps. It doesn't help you in terms of spending. So it comes back to that part where we budget. So my final question from my side will be, when you budget and you look at it realistically that no matter how much you try to turn this budget around,
Yeah.
it is not going to
Yeah.
meet up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said
Yeah.
is either you up your
Yeah.
earning or you
Yeah.
reduce your
Yeah.
lifestyle. How
Yeah.
do you start from there?
This reminds me of one of our friends who lives here. I know there's somebody on this call who is going to go back and tell them this story. So, um, you know, at the beginning of a particular year, they wrote their plans, they wrote their budget and everything. And then by February, out of annoyance, they tore everything. Yeah. And they told me, they said that this thing is not really, this thing is not gonna happen, you know. I mean, we usually make a joke out of it. They've gone past that stage now, to the glory of God. The financial realities of Nigeria is tough, right? It takes somebody who has maybe gone through it to be able to, tell you what to do, in going through it, and then, because these things is very, very peculiar. Person to person is different. Your ability to actually, some people, it is not realistic to tell them that increase your earning. Like, there's nothing I can do again to even, increase my earnings, but this budgeting thing, we think that budgeting is something fancy, around breaking your money down on, oh, this is I want to spend. It is not fancy, right? Budgeting is actually a mirror to reflect your reality to you. If you still don't budget, despite how terrible things are, if you still don't budget, you will end up making financial mistake. You end up spending wrongly. If you still don't budget, you will realize that you will realize that you bought something that you can't afford. Does that make sense? If you budget, you can even realize that I can't even afford to eat. Do you understand what I mean? It's usually you writing it down and understanding the reality for you to then take a decision. It helps you actually take a decision. Aside from that, maybe you just want to live whatever I see, I chop, make I just live my life, which doesn't make sense for any of us, right? It just sort of reflects you back to you. It reflects your pockets back to you. It reflects what your income is back to you. It reflects your expenses back to you. There are some expenses that when you budget, you realize that they are very, very, very unnecessary. There is no point me going to that party. No point. I cannot afford it because I can't afford it. Does that make sense? Right? Because it's not a life essential. I can't afford it. If I squeeze money out and I get it done, I am not really squeezing money out because I didn't increase my earnings. Right? I just dug an extra debt for myself. And that's what has happened. So if you don't put pen to paper and do your calculations, you won't realize that. You keep thinking that you are squeezing money out, whereas you are not squeezing money out. You are just getting more and more and more and more in debt, right? And we cannot overemphasize increasing your earnings. We cannot overemphasize it. You need there's always something to do to increase your earnings, right? It might be, one of the really important things. One of the things that is sort of like a get me out of poverty, thingy in Nigeria right now is you actually using your skill on the international scale, right? And I have a group of people that are working on an idea around that, exporting skillful Nigerians, not necessarily you moving abroad, but you using your skill for people who live abroad and are ready to pay you in pounds. So what that helps you to do is that you are actually, so for the people here, what it helps them to do is I'm paying cheaper labor, right, than I would be paying somebody who lives here, but I'm paying more than for you in Nigeria, you are earning more than somebody who is doing the same thing that you're doing is earning, if that makes sense to you. So it's sort of like helping to balance that inequality between paying too much and earning too little, if that makes sense, right? So that is one of the gem that we all, if you feel like you're in a very tight financial situation right now, you are not earning enough for you to sustain yourself, that's one of the things that you should, realign your focus towards. Like from today, start thinking about what's that skill that I can sell to somebody abroad, that can be on retainer, maybe as a graphic designer for a company who, if they want to hire a graphic designer in the UK, they are going to be paying £40,000 a year, but I can accept £20,000 a year because I live in Nigeria, and £20,000 a year would mean 40 million naira for me, which is a lot more than what a graphic designer will be earning per year in Nigeria, if that makes sense. So that's one nugget that you can, you can hold on to and try and draft out your own way of selling your skill. It is the same skill. You can sell your skill in abroad. Somebody wants to ask a question? Yes, you can ask in the chat, or you can use the mic. Bella, did I answer your question?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Muhammad Bello, we are out of time. So I think it's okay for you to just unmute your mic and shoot the question. Yeah. Okay. Oh, this is a set of questions. So I will not be able to take all these questions here. I would write them or email them to Crystal, and then it's going to
These are
reply.
general questions.
And
These
I'm
are
going
Google questions.
These are Google questions, right? So, and then I'm going to get back to you. But I think it's time that we start saying thank you so much, everybody, for creating time to be here. But more importantly, for our guests, for creating this, very nice environment for us to be able to talk together and to also pick one or two takeaways. I would like to encourage everybody. I took a screenshots of the challenge for the week already, and I'm going to try to send it to as much persons that I've invited this evening. So please try to, take up that challenge to try to look at how does your financial life look like. And like I said in the beginning, it will wow you to know how much you've actually spent, how much came into your account. And like he also told us in this last point, let's try to share a financial lesson with a friend to spread knowledge, to also learn more. When you share with people, they give you, examples of things that, they've also tried and have worked. So thank you so much, everybody, for taking the time out to join this session. And for those that were not able to join, maybe in your contacts, and they just come back to you to say, I was not able to make the session. We have a recording that I'm going to share the link with you before this time tomorrow. Okay, I can actually send it tonight. I'll send it tonight, and you can always go back to watch those the video once again, and jot down some points that you could use for the future. So thank you so much, everybody. We really appreciate your time, and we hope that in the next month, which is going to be the last Saturday of next month, is going to be May 2025. Yeah, we'll be having another session that will also call you to join us. So thank you so much, everybody. And with this, I would like to say good night. Good night. You can unmute yourself and say good night to friends. Thank you so much, Crystal. We really appreciate you coming
There's no
around.
use.
Yes.
You're strong and you're active. That's all I
Abdulrazak,
noticed.
good night.
I said I'm not seeing you
Good
as a
night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Good
Elijah.
night.
Good
Baba
night.
Abdulrazak, good
Razak and
night.
Chris and Mike, good night. Where is
Good night,
Chris?
boss.
Chris don't run, Abby.
Thank you so much. I would stop the recording here, and we can go on with pleasant
Mama
dreams.
Deborah, good night. Now let me never come out online.
Okay.
Oh, bye bye, Motibo. Game close.